For you to introduce Mr. Krishnamurthy Rao. Mr. Krishnamurthy has more than 27 years of experience in the pharmaceutical profession. He has obtained his master's in pharmacy in 1995 from Gujarat University with the specialization being quality assurance. Mr. Krishnamurthy had worked for esteemed firms such as Lotus Labs, Dr. Reddy's, GlaxoSmithKline and Strides Pharmaceuticals on various capacities. Currently, he is the Managing Director of BioCAD India Private Limited, which is based at Bengaluru since April 2012. BioCAD is a biotechnology company headquartered in Russia, specializing in bringing up biosimilars and innovative products like monoclonal antibodies such as rituximab, trastuzumab into the market. BioCAD manages the complete life cycle of the product from discovery, preclinical, clinical stages and marketing till they reach the point of utilization. He is also a certified life coach, an author, Conclave 2024. I request Dr. Shyam Prasad Sachankila to escort Mr. Krishnamurthy to the dais.
ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Pharma industries. The following will be the content: introduction, classification, biopharma versus small molecules. Small molecules means you know this atorvastatin, paracetamol, ciprofloxacin, these type of drugs. Biopharma means mainly the products from biotechnologically produced drugs. The market dynamics of the industry, also biopharma industry. What are the opportunities? Being a student group, I will also take you through some opportunities in the market. To start with, we have to define what is a biopharmaceutical. It is a protein or a nucleic acid based pharmaceutical product used for therapeutic or in vivo diagnostic purpose, which is produced by means other than direct extraction from a native non-engineered biological source. I will take you through the progression of biopharmaceuticals over the years. The first generation biopharmaceuticals, they were introduced around 1980s and early 90s. They were generally replacement proteins. Proteins displaying an identical amino acid sequence to a native human protein and administered in order to replace or augment levels of proteins. For example, recombinant human insulin, human growth hormone, erythropoietins, interferons, granulate colony stimulating factors, follicle stimulating hormones. The second generation biopharmaceuticals, these are the engineered proteins, site directed mutagenesis, the controlled alteration of a gene's nucleotide sequence such that the specific predetermined alterations in the resultant polypeptide's amino acid sequence are introduced. Example, fast-acting insulin analogs, trastuzumab, bevacizumab, adalimumab, infliximab, etanercept. I will just run through the classification of therapeutic proteins. You are aware of this, it's in your syllabus, so I will just, for the non-biotech students, I will just cover this topic. Group 1A is enzymes and regulatory proteins. This is to replace a particular activity in case of protein deficiency. Suppose insulin is deficient in the body, so we give insulin. Group 1B is enhance the magnitude or timing of a particular normal protein activity. Example, recombinant erythropoietin in cases of chemotherapy-induced anemia to increase erythrocyte production. Group 2, these are targeted proteins. The exquisite binding specificity of monoclonal antibodies and immunoadhesins. Example, rituximab. This is a human-mouse chimeric monoclonal antibody that binds to CD20, a transmembrane protein expressed on more than 90% of beta cell non-Hodgkin's lymphomas. The third class of proteins are prophylactic or therapeutic vaccine. The COVID vaccine is one example. Protection against infectious diseases or toxins. One more example is hepatitis B vaccine. Most of the vaccines which we give to infants when they are born for the 1 year or 2 years of their, most of them are vaccines. Fourth class is protein diagnostics. Example, purified protein derivative, PPD test, which determines whether an individual has been exposed to antigens from Mycobacterium tuberculosis. A positive result means the person is infected with tuberculosis. It can be done in a day, the test, or maybe faster. So I will get into this important segment, biopharmaceuticals versus small molecules. If you walk into a pharmacy or a medical shop, whatever you see there, whether over the counter or in their shelf, are small molecules, everything, whatever you see. What you don't see are biopharmaceuticals, the vaccines, monoclonal antibodies, because these basically have to be still now administered in the hospital under at least a daycare now. Morning they go and get administered and they come back by evening. What is the future? Small molecules, dominant force. Currently, small molecules reign supreme, accounting for around 90% of global pharmaceutical sales. They are simple and versatile. So these drugs are typically made from chemical compounds with low molecular weight, making them easier to manufacture. Example, paracetamol, atorvastatin, temozolomide. Till the biopharmaceuticals were developed, we used to think discovering small molecules was difficult. We used to say it cost 1 billion, 2 billion to discover a drug. Now that we have biopharmaceuticals in picture, industries are saying it's easy to develop small molecules. Small molecules they offer medicines at very low cost. Even now you can get Disprin at I think 3 rupees, 10 tablets, very cheap. Ease of access and administer. Maybe you can go to a pharmacy and buy it. Administration is easy. It's a tablet, capsule. It's a liquid oral dosage form. Some are injectables. Only limitation is that they can have off-target effects. Suppose your hand is paining, but you have to take the tablet through your stomach. Directly you can't apply. So other parts of the body also will have some effect. This is with small molecules. What about biopharmaceuticals? They are the rising stars. While comprising a small share of the market currently, biologics are experiencing rapid growth. They offer targeted therapy. Biologics such as proteins and antibodies are often more precise in their action. They can also mimic body's natural biological processes, potentially leading to fewer side effects. So body is deficient in insulin, so we administer insulin. So practically we are not altering the composition of how body reacts to diseases. Limitation. As of now, they are high cost due to their complex manufacturing process and limited competition. This competition we have to attack. If we increase more drugs from more companies, they will also come at very low price. The future of the market. Both small molecules and biopharmaceuticals will continue to play vital roles in treating diseases. Both are required. The future of the market likely lies in a combination of both, with small molecules remaining dominant for common conditions. And biologics is a synonym to biopharmaceutical, taking the lead for more complex and personalized treatments. Ultimately, who will win? It is the patients and the hospitals. Ultimately, the winners in this battle are the patients who benefit from most effective and affordable treatments. I am focusing my whole presentation on how the industry is and how it helps you as a student group. So I am not getting into in-depth the way biologics are manufactured or which you study in your classes. So I will take you through market dynamics. This will give you an understanding of how the biologics or the biopharmaceutical group medicines are selling. The latest data of biologics, worldwide data, the top 10 selling medicines last year, 2023. First one is Comirnaty, is a COVID vaccine developed by Pfizer. Humira adalimumab, this is by AbbVie for treating autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis and Crohn's disease. This is second. This is order of how they have been sold. Third is Keytruda. The drug name is pembrolizumab from Merck, used for immunotherapy in cancer. Paxlovid, this is a chemical. The fourth one is chemical developed by Pfizer. This is an antiviral medication for treating mild to moderate COVID-19 infections. Spikevax, COVID vaccine again from Moderna. Sixth one is a chemical, Eliquis. It's a BMS drug, Apixaban, prevents blood clots and strokes in various conditions. Seventh one, Revlimid, lenalidomide from Celgene, used for treating multiple myeloma and mantle cell lymphoma. Eighth one, this is a chemical, dimethyl fumarate, Tecfidera from Biogen, treats relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. Ninth one, Ocrevus, ocrelizumab, developed by Roche, is used for treating relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis and primary progressive multiple sclerosis. 10th one, Dupixent, dupilumab, is a monoclonal antibody blocking interleukins, treats moderate to severe atopic dermatitis and asthma. This is just last week's data. What is the future? The trending 2024. These were approved by CEDAR, US FDA. I will take you through this by first therapeutic class, based on therapeutic class, small molecules. 31 approvals, 55% of the approvals was for small molecules. You can see the remaining 43% is biotechnology products. It's a huge. Therapeutic MAPS, monoclonal antibody, 22%. Peptides and proteins, there were 3 approvals, 4 recombinant enzymes, then DNA, RNA based drugs, 7%. So you can see these biotechnology products are catching up. Maybe in another 2 to 3 years, you will have higher percentage of biopharmaceuticals than small molecules. Maybe because of COVID, the number was less. Now, again, the discoverers will start focusing on non-COVID diseases. Trending drugs based on therapeutic areas. Cancer, 31% approvals were in the cancer. Neurology, 11%. Autoimmune disorders, 6 drugs, 11%. Infectious diseases, 9%. Metabolic disorders and ophthalmology, 5%. Any opportunity for you in oncology, please don't miss. That's future. What are the biopharmaceutical trends? The business wise. You can see from 2020, now 2025 and 2030. What are the top 10 pharmaceutical companies? But they also have a lot of biotech products. This is as on last year, December. Pfizer, AbbVie, Janssen and Janssen, Merck, Novartis, Roche. I'm not able to see the small letters. BMS, Sanofi, the Astra and GSK. These are the companies which you should work for, top 10 companies. Top biotech companies in India. Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, Biocon, Aurobindo, Reliance, Sun Pharma, Glenmark, Strides. The difference between this and this, I will tell you. These are original discoverers. They discover new molecules. And this group copies them. It's like taking a photocopy. You have original Aadhaar. They have this original Aadhaar, and this is photocopy. But that's why you may see less jobs in biopharma as of now in India. Only when these companies move to discovering drugs, then there will be a real change in the industry. Otherwise, if we keep copying, it will be a very low economy, low price, cheap products. This is where I am proud having associated with my company BioCAD. 2010, our company was like any one of the Indian companies. We were also copying biosimilars. Biosimilar means it is copy business. Biopharmaceutical is discovery. I am just using layman words to address the student crowd, so I am not trying to insult or make fun of anyone, any industry. So after 5 to 6 years, our Russian scientists developed so much grip over developing biosimilars that they started discovering their own drugs. So 2010 we used to say BioCAD is a biosimilar company. Now we say it's a biopharmaceutical company. Now we have stopped biosimilars. We have now 7 to 8 our own molecules, discovered molecules, and BioCAD employs roughly 10,000 people in Russia, out of which 5,000 people are in R&D. So this is the way we have to move the biotech industry in India. Positives of our industries, Indian biosimilar industry. Global leadership. India boasts the largest number of biosimilar launches in emerging economies, exceeding even China. We are cost competitive. We have a strong pipeline. India has a powerful talent pool. India possesses a large pool of skilled scientists and professionals. What is the global share of Indian pharma? This slide makes all of us proud. India is the largest provider of generic medicines by volume, accounting to around 20% of total global sales. This translates to an impressive 50% of global demand to various vaccines. Almost 50% vaccines across the world is being supplied from India, and 40% of generic demand in the US. You go to any pharmacy in the US, half of the medicines will be from India. Arpindo, Hetero, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma. According to Economic Survey 22-23, India is ranked third worldwide in the production of pharma products by volume, number of tablets, number of capsules, number of injections, and 14th by value. Active pharma ingredients. Around 500 API manufacturers contribute about 8% of global market. India has the highest number of facilities that meets guidelines of US FDA. Growth. The Indian pharma industry is valued roughly around 50 billion, expected to reach 65 billion by end of this year, and further soar to 130 billion by 2030. This rapid expansion translates to a significant rise in job openings across various segments of the industry. What are the opportunities? This is an approximate forecast. According to industry estimates, there are currently around 1,50,000 jobs in India. It is expected to be 5 lakh skilled professionals by in another 6 to 7 years time. What are the opportunities? Which are the departments which you should focus for? Before I forget, I would like to tell you that there is a lot of difference between IT and BT. I don't know why we have put it together. IT is not BT. BT is pure science. If you want to work from home, work from a mall, BT is not the place. So you should come out of that mindset. It's pure science. So jobs which I am showing are pure jobs, not fancy jobs. You can't say I will work 1 hour from home and do it. For another 100 years, we will never discover a drug. So if some of you feel bad, I don't know, but come out of this mindset that IT is different, BT is different. So R&D, this is where the magic happens. Researchers in biopharmaceuticals develop new drugs, vaccines and other treatments. What is the impact on society? This is my favorite slide. In 2012, when I got job in BioCAD, I was country head for BioCAD in 12. Monoclonal antibody, I will not disclose you the brand. One vial was costing 1,35,000 rupees. In cancer treatment, normally most of the cancer treatments they give 6 cycles every 3 weeks. After every 3 weeks, there is 1 dose. So one main cycle means 6 cycles. Just for understanding, let us say 6 vials were used for main cycle. And normally it is followed by 8 cycles of maintenance therapy. Means another every 3 weeks, 1 more vial, 8 vials, 14 vials. For an ordinary middle class person who are suffering from breast cancer, lung cancer, cervical cancer, lymphoma, any cancer, the cost, can you imagine, was 18 lakh rupees. This was 10 years before, 10 years, 11 years before. So what we did, biosimilar industry. In 2013, we launched our product across the world. There were many other launches, even Dr. Reddy's were there. There were another 2 or 3 companies. The cost was reduced to 50,000 rupees from 1,35,000. So the overall cost of treatment came down to half, 7 lakhs. Now what is the cost now after 10 years? It's not just 10,000 rupees. In 10 years, the same drug is available at 1,25,000 rupees discount, only at 10,000 rupees. So cost is now 1,40,000. See, this is where the magic happens. This is where we should get into, scientists. Like this, we have introduced 7 molecules across the world, BioCAD, but others are also doing, Reddy's, Biocon, Aurobindo, Reliance. We have so many companies in India which have impacted on this society through this. This is not the story of one drug. Due to persistent R&D efforts, cost of products keep coming down. Many brands have been developed in India which have reduced the cost of treatment. Now the other aspect is that what about quality? Some of you may say only cheap drugs. No. Now in cancer or critically ill patients, we talk in terms of prolongation of life. A person, suppose unfortunate, but we have to quote such examples. Person with cancer has a life of 6 months. Using these drugs, they survive for 1 year, some for 2 years. I will tell you, around 10 to 15% have been cured of the disease. They have survived for life. That's the impact. Example, in Europe, this is a slide from European group. This is cancer. Overall rate of returning to work. following a cancer diagnosis grown over to 75%. In France, 82% of working women diagnosed with breast cancer return to work after a median sick leave of 10.8 months. In Netherlands, 83% working individuals diagnosed with head and neck cancer return to work in 6 months after treatment. 81% of patients in Japan diagnosed with cancer return to work within 12 months. This is the impact of discovery, new drugs. Opportunities. This is also hard work. Manufacturing, you have to go to factory and come back by evening. Once a drug is developed, it needs to be manufactured on a large scale. So that's where a lot of opportunities are there. Quality assurance. Quality assurance professionals are responsible for ensuring that drugs meet all safety and efficacy standards. Sales and marketing, it's not real technical, but lot of opportunities are there. You get to educate healthcare providers about new drugs and convince them to prescribe to their patients. Regulatory affairs, obtain drug approvals from health authorities. You can be part of different phases of clinical trials, phase 1, 2, 3, 4. You can be part of clinical conduct. You can be part of data management, biostat. These are the areas I really don't have experience. The other panelists may be able to throw light on this. Biostatistics, statistical program, pharmacovigilance. But one news which I got from my close friend who works in a multinational company, he says just for statistical programming, they have 700 people. Just for this, I didn't know about such a massive scale in one multinational company. Imagine how many MNCs are there and how many Indian MNCs are there. Just for statistical programming, which I was told some of you can get into. Maybe SaaS software and some related experience. So career. So you have to choose your area. Find out what you like doing best. Then move on with confidence. Now I will just touch upon this topic. Advantage of pharma or biotech, both are same versus other industries. We directly impact human lives, improving health and well-being. We are part of cutting-edge R&D. So industry definitely contributes towards economic development. Job security. The pharmaceutical industry is constantly growing with an aging population and increasing demand for new drugs. Job security means you may find it difficult to get into a job, but once you are into the job, I have not come across job opportunities where they have sent home people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people like that. So once you have 5 years, 10 years experience, you hardly will have the fear of losing the job. High salaries. Salaries are good. It depends on your lifestyle, how you spend it. Pharmacists, scientists and other professionals in the field can earn top salaries. What are the advantages as an employee? I have not come across a slump in job market. You can have variety of roles. Choose from a wide range of specialization. R&D, manufacturing, marketing, sales, clinical research, data management, pharmacovigilance. Maybe something else will come up in next few years. The advantage in pharma or biotech industry is that you can transition from one role to other roles. But you should have, but through ethical means, through hard work and smartness. In '96, I joined as a quality assurance person in Strides. Then I moved to auditor, as an auditor in GlaxoSmithKline. Then in Dr. Reddy's, I was in US FDA plant, which was exporting medicines to US mainly. Lotus Labs, I moved to clinical research. You know, master of all, jack of none. So they took me in 2012, I am the MD of a company. At the age of 39 years, I was MD of a company. I am still in that company. So you can change roles. The best part is without adding more degrees or diploma certificates. You don't need to learn on diploma course, short-term diploma course for 6 months, pay 20 lakh rupees. Some degree, some PhD, no. You will have to move on, you have to move on your own abilities. In some other professions, you need to add degrees. There is no end. You have to keep reading. Last slide, I will just take you through a small story. This is called law of wasted efforts. Do you know that lions only succeed in a quarter of their hunting attempts, which means they fail in 75% of their attempts, succeed only in 25% of them. 4 times if they go for hunting, they get a prey only once. But do the animals think that as a failure? No. The wasted effort, you have made an effort, that should not be considered as failure. Despite this small percentage shared by most predators, they don't stop their pursuit and hunting attempts. They don't stop. The main reason for this is not because of hunger, as some might think, but it is the understanding of the law of wasted efforts. They don't go back to hunting just because they are hungry. They also know that there is percentage of wasted effort, 75% wastage. Half of the eggs of fish are eaten. Half of the baby bears die before puberty. Most of the world's rain falls in oceans, and most of the seeds of the trees are eaten by birds. Scientists have found that animals, trees, and other forces of nature are more receptive to the law of wasted efforts. Only humans think that lack of success in a few attempts is failure. But the truth is that we only fail when we stop trying. So, wish you best of luck and thank you. This is the end of my speech.
The session is now open for questions.
Good morning, sir. I am Rahul Kayaji from third year of biotechnology. My doubt was, pharma industry is usually taken up by B Pharm or D Pharm students. What advantage or what additional skills do biotechnology students require to pursue a job in that sector?
You are talking about the pharma industry, the manufacturing sector, or in everything in general?
My focus was more on R&D.
Okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, please sit. Okay. See, R&D, there is no restriction as such for professionally. If you see even people from science, a lot of people from science have discovered drugs. So it's just not pharmacist domain. And biotech is where the biotech professionals can play an important role. But as such, maybe at the beginning level there may be a little bit of challenges, but once you have experience, there won't be real, nobody will ask you whether you are a pharmacist or a biotechnologist or like that. But if you see, when I was in GlaxoSmithKline, I'm talking about 97, this is not related to your question, but how some new thinking takes place. In our company, the packing lines, we had huge packing lines, machineries, fillers, packers, all those things. How a pharmacist gets into those roles? He had no knowledge of machineries, but there were M-Pharms. But parallelly, GlaxoSmithKline was one of the earliest companies to employ engineers in packing lines. They started taking BA graduates, industrial production and those people. So like that, innovation will always be there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Maybe we can take up, once the panel starts, panelist discussions. If there are one or two questions, I can answer. Otherwise, we can take it up later.
Thank you for your insightful lecture. I'm sure the audience here have some takeaway messages from your expertise in your in this domain. So I request you to please occupy the front row.
Sure, thank you.
We will shortly begin with the panel discussion.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Dear all, we'll now be beginning with the panel discussion on the STEAM Pharma. For today's discussion, we have the eminent panelists amongst us, Dr. Mohan B.S., Dr. Poonam Baliga M., Dr. Rekha P.D., Mr. Krishnamurti Rao C.A., and Professor C.S. Shastri. I request Dr. Ujjwal P., Professor and Head Department of Biotechnology Engineering, to escort the dignitaries onto the dais. It is now time to introduce our panel members. May I request Dr. Harshini to do the same.
Once again, good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce one of the panel member of today's session, that is Dr. Mohan B.S. Dr. Mohan B.S. has a vast experience in medical affairs, clinical communications, and service delivery, project management, and KOL support. He has received his doctoral degree in toxicology from Mangalore University. He is currently working as the Senior Domain Consultant at Tata Consultancy Services, Bengaluru. Dr. Mohan has more than 18 years of experience in medical, regulatory, and scientific writing, including CSRs and CSPs, phase 1 to phase 4, safety and efficacy summaries, etc. He has experience in writing and reviewing scientific publications, health supplementary materials, and promotional materials for key opinion leaders. He has working experiences at companies such as Accenture, Novartis Oncology, and Novo Nordisk. A very warm welcome to you, sir, for today's session on Pharma of Industry Academia Conclave 2024. It is my pleasure to introduce our next panel member, Dr. Poonam Baliga M. Dr. Poonam Baliga has more than 16 years of experience in successfully managing and delivering global pharmacovigilance systems across the globe. She has completed her bachelor's and master's in pharmacy from Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. She has research experience from Tata Cancer Center and University of Houston, Texas. She is a GATE qualifier and also won Rajnikant Bakshi Award for Best Poster Presentation by Young Scientists at ACTREC, Navi Mumbai. She is an expertise in case processing, quality reviewing, and submissions to regulatory agencies. She has previously worked in various laboratories such as Eris Global, Cliniminds, Mangalore Institute of Oncology, IQVIA, Srinivas College of Pharmacy, and Biotics Laboratories. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, to the session of Pharma in IAC 2024. It is my privilege to introduce our next panel member, Dr. Rekha PD. Dr. Rekha has completed a postdoctoral fellowship under the supervision of Dr. Chio Chung Yang, National Chair Professor at National Chung Sing University, Taiwan, funded by Biotechnology Division, National Science Council, Government of Taiwan, ROC. She has an extensive research experience in the field of biotechnology and microbiology. Currently, she is the director at Yenapaya Research Center. As a director, her role is to accelerate the translational research by connecting the interdisciplinary research groups and mentoring them. She also facilitates new initiatives and research collaboration and ensures the YRC infrastructural facilities and expertise which are effectively shared with researchers for the progression of science. Her research interest focuses on natural biopolymers and their applications in cell-based therapies for chronic wounds, biofilm dynamics and virulence in uropathogens, microbiome and microbial genomics, antimicrobial drug resistance and quorum sensing targeted approaches, and host pathogen interactions using different experimental models. She has successfully guided around 10 PhD candidates and more than 35 PG students on various research topics. She has successfully completed 12 research grants from various agencies such as BIRAC, ICMR, DST, DBT, and BRNS, and a few of them are of translational value. She is the reviewer for the journals, grants, and including the startup grants. Dr. Rekha has published nearly 200 research articles and several book chapters with a H index of 40, and 6 patents have been granted in her name and applied about 8 patents. She has received many awards like Best Teacher Award, National Science Day Award for a highly cited article from Yenapoya deemed to be university, and she is Outstanding Research Award from National Chung Sing University, Taiwan. I warmly welcome you for the IAC 2024. The next panel member is Mr. Krishnamurthy Rao. And today's observer for the session is Professor C.S. Shastri. I consider this as my privilege to introduce her. Professor Shastri has secured B Pharm with gold medal from BITS BITS Pilani in 1981. He has obtained M Pharm from Government College of Pharmacy, Bangalore. He was awarded with the doctoral degree from Kuvempu University for the thesis entitled Synthesis and Pharmacological Studies on Analogues of Chloramphenicol in 2004. He has a vast experience both in pharmaceutical industry as well as in academics. He has rendered his service in the pharmaceutical industry in various sectors like quality control and production. Currently, Dr. Shastri is the principal of our sister institute, NGSM Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Panir Campus, Derlakatte. He is member of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences Board of Studies, Sri Dhanvantri Pharmacy College governing body and Association of Community Pharmacists of India. He is also the Inspector of Pharmacy Council of India, New Delhi, and Karnataka State Pharmacy Council. Professor Shastri is the approved manufacturing chemist for the production of Schedule C drugs. He has membership in various organizations, to name a few: ISTE, Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Association of Physiologists and Pharmacologists of India, Indian Council of Chemists, Center for Education, Growth and Research, etc. He has around 151 publications in both reputed national as well as international journals. He has supervised around 29 PG students, and under his guidance, 8 students have completed their doctoral degree and 6 members have registered. He is also the reviewer in many reputed journals. He has received financial assistance of about 35 lakhs from external agencies like BRNS, Camco Limited and KPIST. A very warm welcome to you, sir, for the IAC 2024.
Thank you, madam. Dear panelists, please accept our floral greetings. I request Dr. Ujjwal to give away the bouquets to our esteemed panel members. Thank you, ma'am. I would also like to bring to your notice that there is a live telecast of this discussion going on. I now request the moderator of this discussion, Dr. Ujjwal P., to take the session forward.
A very good morning. A warm welcome to the panelist, senior most professor, Dr. Shastri, who will be the observer. And a warm welcome to all the students and dear senior colleagues and professors down the days. First of all, before we start the session, I would like the audience to kindly put their mobile phones on switch off or in the flight mode, especially the students, because we are in the live location here. So I want you to focus onto this panel discussion, which again is lively telecasted. Okay, so we will have a lot of discussions on many of the questions which I put forward. And I want the students to jot the points wherein in the afternoon session we have a one-to-one interaction, and you can always raise the queries and get a comfortable answer from the panel members. Shall I start the panel discussion? Yes. So to start with, I would request all the panel members to have a brief 2 to 3 minutes intro of your expertise, as well as the domain areas which you have taken, just to get to know with everyone. So to start with, Dr. Poonam, 2 to 3 minutes. I may have to restrict the timings because of the questions which I have put up for the benefit of every one of us.
Very good morning to everyone. I thank everyone for inviting me here. So it's a nice gathering, and to meet the young students and my fellow colleagues and the seniors, it's a wonderful experience. So I work as a pharmacovigilance professional. So when I say that, I work in the implementation of the pharmacovigilance systems. So continuing on to Dr. Krishnamurthy, how he said one of the career option for the biotech or the pharma students is in the pharmacovigilance. So I would like to just talk about it a little more. So wherein my role is in the implementation of the pharmacovigilance system. So for the pharma companies, they receive the side effects, the adverse event reports. So what do we do with that? Do we just keep them as a paper here? No. They are taken, they are processed in the system, they are analyzed, they are reported to the health authorities. And each health authority in each country have their own regulations. So the pharma company has to be compliant, has to be on time, has to be reliant, has to maintain the privacy information about the patients while submitting the reports. So my role is here in interacting with the pharma companies, getting their requirements, getting into the system, developing it, helping the engineers develop the system to meet the requirements, and then submit it to the authorities. So here I work as a business analyst, as a project manager, as a product manager, as well as the consultant, wherein to the pharma companies an overview is given, and they can choose which is the best safety system that they can go into. So this is my role in a short nutshell. I hope it was understandable to all.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam. I would request Dr. Rekha, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, good morning all. It's a nice gathering to see a lot of people from pharma and academia together over here. But unlike other panelists, I'm purely from the academia, and my role as a R&D director in the research center and as the larger role in the university is to channel the research programs, and mostly focusing on to the problems which require solutions, like solutions maybe new drugs, developing new drugs or delivery systems, and many things new, like incorporating technologies from genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, cell-based therapies, stem cells, gene therapies, and a lot of research like that we are facilitating in our center. And also, most importantly, we have taken very keen interest in our team that whatever work we do should be translated. So that means from in vitro assays to the in vivo preclinical models, and we try to understand what the new molecules we are testing is going through and showing the efficacy, and later to the clinical trial. And the last 10 years of work has led to at least 3 clinical trials from our own research group. And that's a good sign what we see right now. That is supported from the BERAC program of the Government of India. And we also established an incubator when the research was going. We emphasized the need for starting an incubator in our campus in 2018. We joined in 2009, and then our research center was formed the same time. And 2018, we started our incubator. And the time this incubator was started through the National Biopharma Mission, we got the medtech facility, that is for the clean manufacturing, GMP certified facility. Right now is fully functional for the production of some new drugs, whatever it is, like for the clinical trials. And along with that, at least 3 products that are in-house developed are going to the phase of clinical trial, the phase 1 and phase 2 there, and with the regulatory approvals. And we identify the problems from the clinical scenarios. We also catch the opportunities in the researchers. They have the technological advantages. Some people are extremely good in genomics, some are very good in gene editing and CRISPR technology, of course, and some are very good in cell-based therapies. So we harness this to channel them into appropriate research questions that can be translated. So maybe more questions I can take later. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rekha. Dr. Krishnamurthy, you can please.
Yeah, good morning once again. Maybe I did my M.Pharm in 95 in quality assurance from LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad. That ours was the first batch of QA in India. After that, I have developed interest in manufacturing. So I was in quality assurance, manufacturing, audit of pharmaceutical factories, then APIs, regulatory affairs, in clinical research and BioCAD. It's a end-to-end support. Also in BioCAD, I have done business development in Southeast Asia, almost around 20-25 countries. I have traveled selling our biotechnology products. So this is my background. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnamurthy. We have with us Dr. Mohan. Yes, you can please take your time, 2 to 3 minutes, to just give your approach of works.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. When I got an invite to come to NITTE Engineering College, I thought it is an opportunity for me to talk to the young minds. Because every day I am speaking to all the clinical research people and doctors and other professionals. This is one of the rarest of rare opportunities that I feel that I am getting it here. Because I get a lot of CVs every day to screen that from BE Biotechnology students and MSc and Pharma. But getting an opportunity to interact with the people is a good opportunity. You know that in the clinical research we have the preclinical, clinical phases, right? So my experience is not with preclinical anywhere. My experience is completely with clinical experience. So I worked in the clinical operations area in Novartis and Novo Nordisk, and right now in TCS. And then I moved on to the medical affairs team in Novo Nordisk organization, where I was mostly interacting with physicians and field staff and promoting the product, launching the product in different areas. So mostly a promotional promoting the product in the market, and also interacting and continuing medical education part. That was my main. But later I moved on to the clinical research, core research area, where I took the medical writing as one of the areas, developing the teams across, and looking after the submission to Europe, US, Japan, and in some of the Asian countries. So that is where I come from. So now in TCS I am looking after the, recently I am there in TCS for the last 3 years. But otherwise, yeah, mostly my experience is in clinical operations area and medical publications area.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan. Audience, a big round of applause for their expertise work which was explained. Thank you. I will be putting some questions to each of the panel members, and there is always an opportunity for other panel members to pitch in and give their views also. Dr. Poonam, shall I start with you? Yes. My first question would be, how has technology impacted drug safety case processing? And could you just discuss some specific examples of this particular technology which is being using in this field?
Sure. Thank you. So I worked also as a case processor. So when I say that, I did mention about the side effects experienced by the patients is noted down in a form and is sent to the pharma company. So once they receive that, they have to enter it in a software application. And when they enter, they have to code it in a particular manner. When I say code, it's not the engineering coding. It is the standardization of the data that is being entered. So for these, every pharma company had different forms, and some of them didn't have enough data that was required for identifying or even properly analyzing the information that was shared. So here with the technology, there is the application called as OCR, optical character recognition, or there is web-based forms which have been developed, which enables the data extraction from these forms easy. Previously, it used to be just the scanned information, or without the proper, it was just on the phone call, where half the information is sometimes not understood, not written, or not correctly analyzed. But with these standardization of the forms, that has helped. Second, during processing, there are different, the processes involved. Maybe the addition of the data or the coding. So now in the systems, the safety systems, they have the, in a simple term, dictionaries, I would call them. There are dictionaries, there are libraries incorporated in the application such that they code the data automatically. So just like you can, for an easier example, maybe when you use WhatsApp or any tool, you see the word being already given to you as a ready-made. So similarly, or when you say Mangalore, you know it is Mangaluru, exactly. So these are some of the synonym terms. So these are kind of the libraries which store the data. So that has helped. That has reduced the data entry time. Third, there are some automation or artificial intelligence machine learning models which in the system identify how has the drug been faring over the past years in the trend. What has been the trend? Has it been causing the similar side effect, or we call it as adverse event? So has the adverse event trend been a regular and a consistent one? There are these models which identify them. So this has all reduced the processes which previously the business, when I say business, it's the operations team or the pharma companies would take hours together to analyze the different Excel reports running into pages. Now there are models giving these predictions and giving the analysis for you, which helps in the signal management of the adverse events. So these are just the some, and maybe also the computer system validation. Due to the agile methodology that we have, the analyzing or the testing of the application has been, there are the test scripts to be written. There are the applications which can write the test scripts to validate the system before giving it to the pharma company. So unlike other companies, I would say like maybe airline and pharma, the software application has to be validated, approved. Only then it can be given to the pharma company to handle the actual real patient case data. So in this, and then maybe also the shape points wherein the collaboration and communication between different stakeholders, different team members across the world has been made easy. All of them work on the same place, on the same document at the same time. So all these have been
yes,
helpful.
Dr. Poonam, to add on to that, when you said about the coding, which comes into that, so like who is the team doing the coding part of the work? Is it the pharmaceutical?
It's the pharmacist, it's the biotechnology, it's the people who have the medical knowledge. So there are even physicians, there is called as MEDRA, it's a dictionary name, wherein the adverse events or more which may be more understandable, maybe side effect, or any medical history, or the indication of the drug that has been reported. So, okay, can I just take two more minutes here?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay. So, maybe you get a phone call, or you go to the doctor and you say, doctor, I took the medicine, but I had something in my stomach, there was something. It was as though I could see something going. It wasn't very clear. Now the doctor or the nurse notes down the same. But if this is to be given to the pharma company, you cannot give it in this way that there was something in the stomach or something going on in the stomach. That's called as a verbatim term, what's been reported as is from the patient. You have to note it down. You can't just ignore that. But then it has to be coded to a medical terminology wherein the health authorities, which is comprised of the physicians, pharmacists, they understand what does that mean. So maybe something in the stomach can be given as stomach upset, a simple term. So there is the term which is as reported from the patient is converted or coded to a medical term. Stomach upset, which can be gastrointestinal upset or gastrointestinal disturbance. So this is called as the coding, which is done by pharmacists who have the knowledge about the medicine, about the diseases, and this is being reviewed by the physicians. So in the pharmacovigilance safety operation, that's where I worked initially, we have a team. It's a teamwork. You have the pharmacist, you have the biotechnology, you have the other science background working, and this work is being reviewed by the physician, that whether the coding of the term is done to the right medical diagnosis or medical term. So this is the coding part which I meant.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Poonam. In context with the same, Dr. Mohan, I have a question for you. How is digital technology influencing the pharmaceutical landscape, particularly in the areas such as research and development, manufacturing, and patient engagement?
See, the digital technology is the one of the, because see, the three areas they have asked it here. One is on the manufacturing, another one is on R&D, the third one is on patient engagement. See, nowadays what we are seeing is the trials earlier, all the trials which were conducted earlier were conventional trials. But after the COVID, which has hit us very strongly, and there was a need for us to go with vaccine manufacturing as quickly as possible. So we wanted to finish off the trials with 2 to 3 months or 6 months. So the virtual trial concept has developed. Okay, so the decentralized trial concept has happened. So what was the need that time was, one was patient engagement. So we need to do the patient engagement. So for the patient engagement, the first one is the consent. We need to get the patient consent. So many times it is not possible for the patient to come and give the consent, physical consent. So we always take the digital signatures on the patient consent. So this is the new thing which has started. And in all decentralized trials, what we do is, we don't want the patient to come to the doctor's clinic as scheduled in the protocol. Protocol has number of visits that need to be performed by the patient. But if we are encouraging, because see, many of the pharma companies, including the top 5-6 pharma companies which Dr. Krishnamurthy has showed, they are actually 30% of their portfolio that has moved to the digital trials. So this is how the mobile apps and wearables, they are using it thoroughly to transfer the informations from the patient side, probably the telehealth medicine even that is included, and the information from the patient side, their daily monitoring of, for example, I'm saying a diabetes. A patient is a part of the clinical trial for diabetes. So that the fasting plasma glucose or HbA1c level or postprandial plasma glucose levels that has been measured every day, that will be transmitted through the mobile apps or wearables, which will be captured in the data management. And this is how actually, and then the second part in the patient engagement is how they will be, on ongoing basis, they will be engaged in the telemedicine or advise patient, the doctor's suggestion how it is going to get it. That is from the patient engagement. And from the manufacturing point of view, the isolation of the novel potential candidate, that always comes with this new technology, digitalization. And probably you know that the in silico drug designing, what we are doing it is faster. So when we are saying digital technologies, I also many times tie up it with the manufacturing. I'm not having much of the experience in manufacturing, but I saw that in one of our previous things, the IoT things, which has been tied down to the manufacturing area, where the Internet of Things has been tied up with the devices and sensors, where the entire thing has been, the entire assembly line has been automated. The product, the intention of the product formation is the monocomponent purity, particularly in case of the biologics, what Dr. Krishnamurthy has told it. Ultimately, it has to be the monocomponent purity, because in biologics, we always say that the process is the product. If the process goes, every stage of the process, we go with the patenting. If the patent goes wrong, sorry, if the process goes wrong, the product will be a impure product. It is not a good product at all. So in the biologics, they are all the therapeutic proteins. So maintaining the process, and that is the reason we always go with the IoTs. And every level, they have the technology in the manufacturing. And I whole lot of things in the manufacturing area, which brings up the purity of the component. Ultimately, the speed and the purity, speed and the quality matters. Even in the clinical research, the speed, because the digital technologies in the patient engagement, it has been told. So the thing is how fast we can do. The cycle time reduction, wherever we go, we think about the cycle time reduction. How fast we can hit the market and reach the patient. Because meeting the unmet needs of the patient is one of the major things for every pharma company, and second is the marketing and revenue generation. So these 3-4 things, as long as they are capable of meeting it, the research is successful. That is the reason they always try to see every stage there is a reduction in the cycle time. So I think I can stop it here.
Yes, Dr. Mohan, thank you. Since Dr. Mohan, you just put it on manufacturing and the process, I would like to have a question with Dr. Krishnamurthy. So what do you feel, or what are the emerging trends you see in the manufacturing process of these pharma products in our country or globally around? If you can just throw some highlights on the same, sir.
Regarding
manufacturing process of biopharmaceuticals.
the changes that are
Yes, changes, and how it can be implemented with respect to the rise of the scenarios with respect to whether it's job or research. Research part I can ask with Dr. Rekha, no problem, sir.
See, the conventional manufacturing may not change as far as small molecules are concerned, tablets, capsules, oral dosage form, then the small volume parenterals, large volume parenterals, the sterility requirements, the GMP requirements, they may not change. And since we, Indian, specifically related to Indian manufacturing setup, now with the Prime Minister's that mass purchase of medicines which are happening, Ayushman Bharat, you know, the cost of products have again come down heavily. The tablets which we were selling at 2, which we thought were cheap, now they want at 50 paisa now. So the 50% of the bottom, requirement of the market, Indian market, 50% will continue to be supplied by small and medium scale manufacturers who will not get into any sort of modern day IoT or artificial intelligence or something like that. But the rest may catch up, mainly the manufacturers supplying medicines to US and Europe. They will be the first to bring in some changes. I was in manufacturing for almost 10 to 15 years. So these changes, for me, as of now I look a old timer. I don't accept the new things so easily, because you see, when we were in the 90s, wearing a mask itself was a big thing. So when I used to go for audit factories, so they used to give me a gown and a cap. By that time, the message would go to the factory that auditor has come here, wear mask. So the people who were really working on the tablets, capsules with gloves, they used to wear mask. Finally, so once I go inside, they used to cover their mouth, not even the nose. So they thought mask, while they are talking to others, they should wear mask and talk to each other. That was the trend. Then we educated them on the mask, need for mask for their nose, because they should not inhale chemicals. So from such scenarios, even now, if I see some audit reports of small companies, still it is there. Violations, GMP violations. So the top MNC, Indian MNCs may bring in a lot of changes. Biotechnology as such, as Dr. Mohan clarified, some of these modern medicines, their protocols itself are so strict and rigid that they are looking at minimum human intervention.
So that will hit the market, sir, if you are telling about it.
That will hit the 10% of the market, but there will be people to process them, documentation of the activity, then the packaging lines. Packaging lines will definitely be people driven, because if you see 300 people, 400 people sitting there, supervisors, and that will be there always. Yeah. So another 10 years, I don't see major changes, but that's how the things evolve. They evolve slowly. You miss the change. Suddenly you realize, okay, this has changed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Rekha, I have this question for you. What are your thoughts on the necessity of basic research with respect to pharma as well as biotechnology?
Yeah. So for the students, what I just want to tell, whatever experiences the panelists have shared is not from their classroom. Okay, I understand you may not be catching up what we are talking that easily. So everything starts from a small step. All of us sat like you in the classroom, and over the years we observed from different sources, fields, people and others, and learned this. So don't think that everything starts at this stage. It starts with you. Like you can see gray hair in our head, but you are all still young, energetic. So that journey is too long, what we talk today. So that is a caution. I could see some kind of expressions from the students over there. They cannot catch up what we are talking. Okay. So, but what I want to tell, what Dr. Vijwal asked me is, as you are in the classroom studying the fundamentals of each of the processes, it maybe it is a fermentation, or on the ethical issues, IPR, or different medicines for onco, medicines for different lifestyle diseases, or understanding the cell and molecular biology, genetic basis, many things you are studying. So everything starts from that fundamental understanding. So when you do a lot of basic research, what we try to understand is to understand very fundamental how the processes work in the biological system. If suppose you give a cancer drug on a cancer cell, what does the cell, how does the cell react to? Okay, we have a control set and have a set that goes for the treatment, the very simple experiment, your case and control. And we compare what happens in the cells that is treated and what that is not happening in the cells that are not treated. And sometimes, if suppose it's a new drug, what we do is we take a positive control that is already in the market, shown to be the best. And we see that whether ours is superior to the existing or it is non-inferior, that means it's equivalent to the same, or maybe at the end of the result, okay, not doing good. So what we do, we may reject that molecule to taking it further experiment. You say that the animal trials. So this is what happens a lot in the back door in the basic laboratory, research laboratory. Hundreds of molecules are screened, okay, where we want the academic qualified students, particularly those who are taking up your projects. And when interns come to our laboratories, we have 10 or 15 molecules. We have already the process or the test systems ready. And we ask these students, give their SOPs and ask them under the supervision of a senior to do that. What you are getting it, you are getting a training. And when you are doing that, you should try to understand why you are making it, what you are doing it, what you are seeing it. So there are whole lot of things that happens in the cell. If suppose a medicine should be having, like first we see in a completely controlled environment, that's in the single cell, the target cell may be the particular cell. But then comes the physiological system where you are going to do the in vivo experiments using the animal models. And then you see so many parameters over there, the toxicity, so many other things you see, not only the effect of the drug. So that comes, and you see in the larger picture, you think that, okay, this drug is working, but it is doing a lot of harm to the liver, kidney, heart, maybe it is getting obese. So you do the observations on that, and where the research is important, you document everything systematically and maintain it. And it becomes the original document or the study reports that is mostly generated from the laboratories, archived for the years, and that is referred whenever it goes for different trial phases. And the original documents are most important for the submissions to the drug controllers or for CTRI or so many kind of your regulatory approvals. So doing the work research systematically in an organized way with an outlined process, mostly the certifications of the laboratory may be ideal, so that it will teach from the wearing the masks, the need of it, to taking the importance of waste disposals, personal safety, risk assessment, so many things that will teach you about work in industry or a laboratory. So I think I will take the questions later, perhaps I talked a lot.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rekha. So in context with the same, Dr. Krishnamurthy, sir, I have a question, you showed in your slide, wherein the manufacturing, actual manufacturers globally of the drugs, and a list of companies we are actually copying it. So as Dr. Rekha mentioned about the research and taking the molecules into pharma production, the gap is already there. So what do you say about the gap? Are we going to go ahead with our own molecule and production in future, or where is the, what is the thing we are lacking around to get our own molecules with respect to manufacturing? Your views on that, sir?
Yeah. See, in general, the multinational companies, we can say companies which discover drugs, are Europe and US based mostly. The top 10 which I told, Pfizer, Merck, BMS, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, GSK, AbbVie, Moderna, all those are discovering companies. They play a big game, means it's a big bet rather. It's a 5 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion investments in R&D. They are looking at huge investments, and also they spend money on development, trials, research, and then they come out with their products. And they have patent protection for some years. So their cost, obviously having invested so much money, they will try to recover. Cost of research sometimes are high. Now, finally, everything revolves around market. In US market and Europe market, these companies get business. So the matching business is there. Rich people, big money, there are suppliers. That's a business. That's a business. Now India, if you see, we are in the middle segment. My own experience of traveling in Philippines, Korea, Malaysia, you see, when I go to those places, even biosimilars are new to them. They are still with chemicals, small molecules. They are still treating cancer with small molecules. The rituximab, trastuzumab, bevacizumab are yet to go there. Even now it means, the original products are there. I am talking about biosimilars. That means cost is still high there. So India is the pharmacy of the world. We are manufacturing now. So what India does is the same medicine which we produce here, suppose I sell at 10 rupee, in US it is sold at 100 rupees. That itself we are happy with that. So most of the Indian multinationals are happy selling in Europe and US with that money. And now they are not even going to East, Southeast, the Malaysia or Indonesia. Indian manufacturers are not going unless the business is lucrative. Then there is a third segment. Then we have small manufacturers who are very happy at selling at 2 rupees. Now For him, there is a competitor who is offering at 2 tablets at 2 rupees. So it's like every type of requirement is met by a matching manufacturer and matching business. So this is why when our stomach is full and we have excess in front of us, we are not going for discovery. The Indian MNCs, my BioCAD, I don't want to keep saying about my company, but this is an example of Russian mindset. Don't think about BioCAD. When USSR was there, they used to develop antidotes for biological poisons, Russians. As soon as they used to hear some Western world has a biological weapon, they used to develop antidotes. So that was the proficiency of Russian scientists. Within 6 months, they used to have an antidote. And I was told when USSR, there was it broke up, and then we say legacy USSR countries now, CIS countries are something like that. So when this was maybe after Gorbachev, most of the R&D units in Russia had no business when this Cold War came to an end. There were scientists who had the knack of developing antidotes, but they were jobless. They were being sent home. Most of the R&D centers were being closed. That's when some of the companies like BioCAD bought such R&D centers. They purchased those R&D centers with scientists, equipment, and facilities, total. So that's how they developed efficiency to develop biosimilars. Then now my boss says they can discover a drug every year. That's the speed at which they are doing. So these are all different mindsets.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think, you truly said that. Yeah, Dr. Mohan, please add on.
Just to add to what Dr. Krishnamurthy said, this is also an ethical issue. See, because I just tell you a small story here. In my previous organization, when I was working, I don't want to mention the name of the organization. The insulin was manufactured and it has been sold in the form of a pen. And it was quite an expensive because it is an European pharmaceutical company, and the insulins were sold in the basal insulins, not postprandial insulins. And they were sold in the pens. And in India, you know that a lot of kids are there below poverty line. The insulin was not available. For type 1 diabetes, insulin is must. They have to be injected with once or twice per day with the insulin, 3 times per day at least. And insulin was not available to them. And the question is whether we should leave these kids untreated. They should die. And then came one of the, I know that one of the another Indian pharmaceutical company in Bangalore, they have brought the insulin in vials and syringes, not in the pens, in the fashionable pens, vials and syringes, and supplied them free of cost to these below poverty line kids. And it has been given to them. There are a lot of diabetes treatment centers are there. They have been treated the kids with these insulin, which are biosimilar insulins, which are available in vials and syringes. And the kids are performing really very good. And it's a matter of ethics. Are we yield to these kind of a business part, considering only the creamy class, the rich class of the people, or we need to even treatment make available to the lower class of the society. That is also very, very important aspect which I consider. So I remember one of the doctors in our meet, he publicly told, thanks to that company, Indian company, which has brought insulin vials and pens, vials and needles, because insulin is available to the kids, because he is seeing a lot of kids are dying in front of him, and insulin is not available because it was expensive, because it has been sold by a European company. So it is biologics are very, very important, even all the diseases area where it can be, because they make the treatment affordable to the patients.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mohan, for that. I think that was a very good briefing. Dr. Poonam, now you are in US with your stream of expertise. Since you have experience in drug safety operations and implementations in pharmacovigilance, could you just focus on its scope and overview on the process which can just raise the young minds?
Yes. So coming first to the point which Dr. Rekha mentioned, concentrate. Right now what we speak may not even make sense, everything, but at least what you're studying now, do study it better, do study it well. That's the most important thing I would say, because I'll take the example of pharmacy because I'm a pharmacist, pharmacologist. So at least having the thorough knowledge helps you in the processing of the cases. So coming, so you would like to know, Dr. Ujjwal, you would like to know how it can benefit the students,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So for the, there are different ways of getting the adverse events. It can be from phone calls, can be literature monitoring, can be from the physicians, can be from social media. So when you get all the information from varied sources, especially the literature monitoring or from the literature is the difficult part, because there is a lot of data and it is complex data. No literature article is very easily understandable that you can just read it. Social media is the easiest amongst all. So from the literature monitoring, so make it a habit to read a literature article. Make it a habit. Understand what is being discussed there. Why does that help? You may not go into pharmacovigilance tomorrow, but it does help in understanding what is being discussed. Why is it important? What impact it has? What are the challenges they are seeing? You get to know that. So as the students in the case processing, wherein you would get all this information. Second, when you are learning pharmacology, you would have, not sure how much of pharmacology you'll have, but you would definitely have the different diseases being discussed, all the different drugs, for what indication they are being prescribed for. Learn them. You need not by heart them, but then just learn why. The why part is important. Why does that help? Again in the processing. So wherein you have to enter all this data, you have to do your first round of analysis. So is the product, or when I say the product, the drug, the real culprit behind this adverse event or behind the side effect? So in analyzing the data, next in understanding the information and providing what we call it as causality, how is it the drug which has been caused, or there are confounding other factors, there are other variables due to which it may not be the reason. Third, in narrative writing. So the narrative writing is the way in which you describe what has the patient gone through, and you describe it in a process from the beginning, like how was it taken, what type of case this is, what happened, and then you conclude. So what's your judgment on that? So on the narrative writing part, so which means your English has to be good. Please don't use lingos. Please don't use all the, the acronyms. Please try avoiding them, because in a business communication, you cannot use them. So improve on your English. Improve on your writing style. These are definitely helpful, and this also goes in hand with Mohan, how he mentioned on the medical communication. It definitely helps there. And then on the statistics part. So during the analysis we have, so once these reports are generated, you have to analyze. There are different Excel files to see whether the adverse event was because of the drug or there are other factors, what else has been caused. So analyzing the Excel file. So take time, and now is the time to master Excel. It may be a simple tool, but it's a powerful tool. You need not know coding all the time, but knowing Excel in and out helps. There are now AI bots, or there are some AI tools which can give you the Excel formula, but knowing them definitely helps. So an Excel for sure, I would say. And then process the adding the information in the SharePoint, how to operate a SharePoint, how do you upload, how do you add, how do you send an email, how do you make notes. All these are the different things which are the small aspects, but they definitely count when you have started your job. And right at day one, there's not much of training given. Not everyone is lucky to get a training. And these essentials that you have acquired during your college days helps, definitely helps, and gives you an edge over the others, your fresher, other colleagues who have joined. You definitely have an edge over them.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam. Please a big round of applause for their answers. Yes, since Dr. Poonam, she mentioned about the AI, artificial intelligence, and definitely about the data. Now, as you know, there's a rising field, even in engineering. Everything is related to artificial intelligence and data, big data. So I have, Dr. Mohan, a question for you. What role do you see in the artificial intelligence and big data playing in the future for pharmaceuticals, and how can companies harness this technology effectively, and to go ahead, how can my students try to stream in this line after their degrees?
See, this question is a very big question because AI, how AI and big data can impact the pharma area. See, every day is a transition in pharma area, because I'm seeing in the last 20 years where I am in the pharma, every day is it's a transition for pharma area, because AI, recently the Gen AI has come up, and every company, if you see, 30% to 40% of their process is undergoing transformation into Gen AI process. 30%. Every segment area, right from the drug discovery until sales and marketing. If you see, they are trying to see that how Gen AI we can introduce in their process, and either it has not been outsourced, because many of the pharma companies are so rich that even they can buy a IT company. So they don't want an IT company to generate a Gen AI model for them, or LLM model for them. They generate, they can do that. So in the discovery level itself, we can go with a novel candidate, because still I don't know how the Gen AI is going to help it, but theoretically Gen AI is going to help it, and the identification of, or AI models can help it to identification of a novel potential candidate. But when it is coming to the clinical research area, definitely this is the time. Many times I'm see, when we are in the company, when we are doing the Gen AI models or AI models, AI group, IT group people will speak their own language, and clinical people, they speak their own language. These people don't understand IT language, IT people don't stack clinical language. And however you educate them on each other's, it is quite difficult to develop the models. I am struggling many times, even in the Tata consultancy services, where I am in the clinical side, and I am also closely interact with the IT team to develop models. So in the clinical research area, right from the patient recruitment and supply chain management, the AI can be implemented, and a faster patient, even the protocol development, because many times the trial delays because of the protocol development. Definitely we can develop the Gen AI. So the AI models, we can so easily develop it so that the protocol can capture all the retrospective protocols and generate a new protocol based upon that. So that is what we think that. But IT people, if you go and tell to them, they cannot. But I think the biotechnology students are a kind of, in the interface. You are very good in, because you have the subjects of clinical research and how the trial proceeds and what are the requirements. And also you have studied, because see, every time we are talking about, we are also talking about Python scripts. So but the clinical people are not good in Python. So it is very important that one end you tie the Pythons and other IT part, and the second side, you are also good in clinical area where IT people are not so good. So you can be a good program managers where you can educate both the things. So this is what I discussed recently also in our organization once for clinical trial to develop. Because see, I can't say that how AI is going to impact the each and every process. See, every company, the important thing is they discover today the molecule, and maybe tomorrow if it is marketed, that is good to them. They don't want to wait for 15 years. They want to market it as early as possible, and cycle time reduction is as much as possible. Once the clinical trial, last patient, last visit happens in the clinical trial, they are running behind the ambitious team, and commercials are sitting on their head to market the product maybe within 2 months. 2 months is also a long time, they are thinking. Now, conventionally, they are taking 6 to 8 months. So how to do that, and where we can reduce the cycle time right from, see, I'm heavily involved in automation of these things right from the cycle time reduction from the point of pharmacovigilance area where automated ADR monitoring can happen and also later submission packages, which FDA we are submitting a lot of packages, and EMA we are submitting a lot of packages, because documentation is very important aspect, like developing the clinical trial report, developing the protocol, where medical writers are coming into that, and IT biotechnology people, I know that. In the scientific communication area, particularly in the regulatory writing area, we are always looking for pharma people and life science people. But still, this is unexplored, untapped area. Biotechnology people is an untapped area because they have the potential to be the part of medical communication. So many pharma companies are not even coming to the. Hello. Many pharma companies are not even coming to this in the medical communication area. So you can be the excellent medical writers, considering your background both in IT and also considering your background in life science and medical sciences. Little bit of background because you have the clinical research area, which is. So that is how it can be developed, and where you can be pitched into that automation part and big data part. Yeah, this is a vast area right from the genomics analysis, where we are also, I was a part of doing that, customized medicine, and how we can develop it further. Because if you see the Novartis, they have come out with for a lymphoma, they have to come out with a medicine called CAR medicine. So which is actually one of the genomic data analysis, and they do it. So just to fasten the process, in general, if I want to say in a nutshell, every process, it is undergoing a transition, and they want everything has to happen at the fast, including the big data analysis. And right from discovery till the marketing sales, including your preclinical, different phases of the clinical trial, and submission packages, and promotional, everywhere they want to automate it and want to hit the market as early as possible.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan. I think biotechnology and pharma students, you may have some.
Yeah, Dr. Ujjwal, I would like to
sure,
add.
sure. Sorry, yeah, please add on.
So here, I got the opportunity to work on the machine learning model. So wherein we had to train the models on the identification of adverse events from the literature reports, from the patient data that has been submitted. So how students can help here, not being even engineers, is annotating, or we call it as the labeling of the data. So what you read in the literature article. So when a human mind, or when we read, we would read a 24-year-old male with a history of diabetes, after taking metformin or any XYZ drug, experienced peripheral neuropathy. Okay, so now our human mind knows, okay, this is a male. This is, the age is 24. He has a previous medical history of diabetes and has taken a drug and has experienced peripheral neuropathy. So when the human mind reads, as we are reading, we say, okay, these are the factors. So the similar approach is to be done in a machine learning model as well. So wherein we have to label each one. Not always you will have a literature is a more quality data wherein it is reviewed many times. But if you see in a social media post, you would see that, hey, after taking this drug, it wasn't that great. It was just absurd. So now, you do not know even does a patient exist. You do not even know whether it's a male or a female. You do not even know which drug was that. You do not even know what does absurd mean. So there are different terms which has to be labeled. So this is called as the labeling of the data, which we, from the science students, I would consider pharmacy and biotechnology both as science. So the science students have to do. So this is the labeling of the data. Now this labeled data is given to the engineers for them to design the model. Based on what is the prediction or what's the analysis to be done, they design the model. The model is given this data, which it has the supervised learning, we call it as. It is learning from the data. And then you give the unseen data. And then you see how is the model working on this. So for the company, in my past company, I worked on this. So wherein we had to label, the models were being created, the models were fine-tuned every time where the results were not, when the results weren't good. So when I say results weren't good, for example, so it would come, the patient expired. So now we know when you read the line, the patient expired, it's what type of a case? What's expired means? What does it mean? It's a death. So is it a serious or a non-serious case? Serious. It's a serious case. So the seriousness criteria is death. Okay? Now, if it comes in this way, the machine was able to identify it as a death case. But for example, the patient was discharged, patient went home and expired. Okay? So here, the expired word is not right with the patient. It's in the next sentence. So here, the system didn't realize that the patient had died, or this was a serious case, and death was the seriousness criteria. So it identified as a non-serious case. When no seriousness criteria seen in a text, so for the machine, it's just a text. For us, it's a case. We humans call it as a case. For machine, it's just the text. So it said that it was a non-serious case. And then we, again, have to manually, initially, have to go through the data and check whether the system has correctly identified it or not. And this was the wrong identification done. So the feedback I give to the engineers is the patient was discharged and expired. So here, the correlation is between the previous sentence and this sentence. So we say, after going home, he expired. So that means the engineers have to develop a code to understand, okay, how do they develop the correlation between them? So here we play a role. We understand it. We can explain to them sometimes in layman terms, or sometimes we call it as a pseudocode, wherein you may not know coding, but you would just say, if so and so happen, then this should be the result. If this is, then the answer is this, else it is not true. So you do not know coding. I do not know coding at all. But I can say, okay, based on the logic, what should work? And then they take that and they put into the model for development. So there we play a major role here. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Poonam. I think blink of jobs are in the eyes of students, and we have the industry experts who can help and move forward. Okay, you can put in more questions in the post-noon session, students. Yeah, Dr. Rekha, I have this question on what are the challenges and opportunities arise from collaborating with different stakeholders, including academia, government, NGOs, and as industry panel members are also there. So how can we take this research and industry together with respect to different challenges?
Yes, this is kind of a big question in terms of the cost and other things. If suppose you talk about the business and other things, like mostly the industries do have their own mindsets. That is the gap most of the time the academicians see, that like because academicians are the generators of the knowledge, right? Here, the industries are commercialization of the knowledge, whatever the patent or product or something like. So the commercialization and generation are too extreme for mostly the academicians like. And another mistake generally the academicians do when they generate the new knowledge, it may be a product, process, drug, or anything you say, or a diagnostic. They do not know where it will end up into, because they don't generally have a long-term vision why I'm just doing this research or producing a particular new molecule or something, a new target for possible new molecules to be working on that in the biological targets. So, but on the other hand, the industry doesn't accept whatever you say without kind of documentations and the protocol that needs to be followed, because for their commercialization requires a lot of hurdles, bottlenecks to pass through. So this is a common mistake the researchers generally do in the academia, because without knowing the cause for which you are working, one, and how you should have done, wasting a lot of money, because the work what you have done and shown some results, and the industry is okay, but industry has to spend again a set of money to reinvest on the same process. So that is kind of a waste of time as well as waste of money and resource. And then the thing to be done the way it should be done, in the process it should be done. So it is entirely different set of scientists or whatever the professional classification you can put, they have to do it again. So that happens, many of the academic work that has been done with a purpose fails, not going to the industry. A lot of money spent by the government or from the non-governmental agencies as philanthropic funding generally goes wasting. But the scenario has changed nowadays because of a lot of changing the closeness of academia with the industry, as well as the interface of the entrepreneurship, need for entrepreneurship development in the colleges as well as in the academic institutions. So a lot of training is being given to the learners, maybe from the graduate level itself, and various stages, not only for the learners, but also to the teachers, like how to, streamline your research, streamline your effort, mostly for that. Like you may know, like there are a lot of things called startup grants, like where a lot of mentoring is done, how to do your commercialization process, how to engage yourself in that. A lot of mentoring is being done. So there are a lot of opportunities for learning if suppose you are in a right track, and if suppose you have core interest, what you want, there is sufficient mentoring available in different forms. So you have to fetch that, the opportunities, particularly it can be from any engage. There may be a lot of inventors, kind of success stories we read or in the social medias or in any media. Early inventors, he invented that in the age of 18, 21, 30, 31, kind of very early. So, but they have been mentored properly. I have a couple of students, they came as high school graduates, or not even high school students, and they wanted to develop certain things. And that, because that is the age in which they can learn everything. So they introduced multiple different interdisciplinary approaches and developed a diagnostic kit. And that person is having his own startup, pitching on to everybody for investors. I think that person has an investment from the US. So this is where a lot of change in your mindset, change in your approaches. What you study today, you have to make it realization. And whatever the challenges, whatever the opportunities, gaps, and other things are talked, you have to take it as an opportunity. And industries have also made their mindset a little bit more, towards academic support. And you have to fetch that, because a lot of things like their corporate social responsibility, corporate scientific responsibilities, these are the avenues where academia can approach the industry.
Thank you, Dr. Rekha. Dr. Krishnamurthy, how do you think basic science would really contribute to the pharma industries? In terms of different aspects with respect to the opportunities.
Basic science, you mean?
Yes, the basic
pharma.
sciences, yeah, whatever. Because you can see now most of the basic science courses are being closed in many of the colleges, etc. So we have only a few colleges left with the basic sciences course, and now we have pharma, we have the biotechnology. So how does this can contribute more to the pharma industries? What do you feel about the same?
Yeah, see, on a lighter note, it's survival of the fittest. The closure of some courses, maybe one of the reason is that there was no demand. Also, if you see maybe now we have reached a stage of saturation. I was last 10 years, I am not seeing too many biotechnology courses being started. That's good news because in 90s, late 90s, it had become a craze. ITBT. If you see in Bangalore, they used to call it ITBT festival. BT was only Biocon, and IT was 100 companies.
Yes, very true.
So I used to think, what is this BT? I forced my relative not to take a biotechnology course in 95. Even today she thanks me because simply they started MSc biotechnologies across India. Huge donations. Now you are in good stage, don't worry. I'm talking about 20 years before. I used to get CVs, MSc Zoology, MSc Botany, MSc Biotechnology. They have no jobs in market. They were giving donations of 18 lakh rupees at that time. And they were applying everywhere, pharma field, clinical research, the biotech. And so, see, microbiology. In a factory, 5 vacancies are there for a microbiologist, not more than 5. But then you have 5,000 applications, and it's a serious job, 9 to 5 job. Like that, so now from your question, I get a hint that there is a saturation in number of graduates coming out from biotechnology. It's a very good thing. Now it's time to stabilize. There are a lot of jobs. Pharmacy, there is no end to jobs. Every company in India or outside, you will have pharma jobs. I have seen my own colleagues in Dr. Reddy's who are in regulatory affairs. In 2004, I am talking about 4, when engineers used to go to US and for studies, they used to go for MS and then do something and get jobs there. I have seen regulatory RA executives with 3-4 years of experience in USFD and EMA guidelines getting jobs in US and Europe. Many of my colleagues are heading regulatory departments even in Europe. So there is no end to science graduates, but it's real, you need to have a mindset of working hard, as Dr. Rekha also, most of us have been telling that you have to focus on what you study now and excel in that. A tailor-made course to take you into the job. Today you complete one course and tomorrow you can start doing that work in a company will never happen. Any multinational company or Indian companies, most of the companies, irrespective of your qualification, as a beginner I am saying, they will put you under 3 to 6 months of induction training. You will be trained for 3 to 6 months. It's like learning license. You take LL, 6 months you drive, and then you get a driving license. So there is no end to adding courses. Faster you get into a job, it is better. That's my advice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I have a question, Dr. Poonam, for you. Since we all spoke on pharmacovigilance and drug safety trials, artificial intelligence, big data, etc., how did COVID change the perspective or effect of pharmacovigilance as per your opinion? Because we all said that everything is moving faster, we have AI, we have all the streamlined procedures, but still we lagged on the real drug which was required as an emergency vaccine. So what do you say about it?
No, there it was the lack of research or given importance to certain things. Only certain diseases were always highlighted because they were the money minting places, sorry to say, but that was the truth. And only then people realized the basic research is also extremely important, not just the commercialization or just the money making part on the, profitable diseases. So the research not just on the profitable diseases, but on the other aspects also was important. And during COVID, people realized that pharmacovigilance was or is important because we had all of a sudden, everybody had to take a medicine, had to take a drug. Nobody knew how this drug was doing. Usually what happens, it's a phased approach. You have the preclinical trials, you have the clinical trials, and in the clinical trials, from the phase 2, 3, and 4, you have the adverse event reports coming, and those are being monitored. The institutional review board, the authorities, the companies decide whether to go ahead with the trial, or it has to be paused, or it has to be modified to take certain safety measures. But COVID time, it was one time wherein there was not much of time for all these trials to go on a phased approach. So it had to be done in a much speedy manner. So during this time, the reporting of the adverse events after taking the drug started increasing. Every small to small change was being noticed and was being reported. So this definitely helped, and especially during that time. Previously, there was no work from home. Before COVID, work from home was not every profession had that. And same, I being a pharmacovigilance professional, I didn't have it either. Though we could sit from home and process the cases, what we get, it wasn't there. But that time made everybody to be thorough in their knowledge, have suitable trainings, have online sessions, make everyone up to date so that they are able to work from home and do the processing, to do the product development part. So this was a big change after COVID which we saw, and that has now helped for everyone.
Okay, so what are the different drug safety products are used in pharmacovigilance?
Yes. Okay. So during the clinical trials, we have there is the clinical trial management system, CTMS, which captures all the information, but there is the adverse event that is noted. So then there is the electronic data capture, the EDC, through the gateway, which we call, or in simple words, from clinical trials, the reports are sent to the pharma company. That's the first place where pharmacovigilance starts, from the clinical trials. Then in the at the pharma company, you have the reporter, wherein the medical professionals or we call them as healthcare professionals, can report the adverse event via the call center, via the adverse event forms, which are posted on each company's website. You have a 1-800 number, you have their email address. Some companies also have the AE forms, especially if you open the FDA website, there is a MedWatch form. It's 3500B for the non-healthcare professionals. If you are to report, any person can just report it on the FDA website. So there are for the reporting of the adverse events. Then when you get from the medical information systems, you can also get, so there is a medical information safety system which gets all the queries from different patients. How to take this drug. I took this drug, but I took half the dose. Is that okay? Is that not okay? So there are these questions. So that, is that okay, is that not okay, itself is a adverse event. There is no adverse event, but that's also a case. So these are the system. And then there is the safety intake system, we call it, wherein all the reports are sent. It is triaged just like in a hospital. Imagine there's an emergency room and you have many patients here. You would apply a triaging principle. Which patient should be treated first? And what's the, you would have a process. You would have a guideline which patient should be treated first. Similarly, at the pharma company, there is also the triaging done. There are different cases received. Which case should be dealt first versus later. Though they are all paper reports or electronic reports received, there is still the triaging employed there. And then you have for the detailed processing or for the narrative generation, you have a tool. Then you have another tool. When I say tool, these are all software applications, okay? There's another software application for submitting of the reports to the health authorities. Not every health authority accepts the same report. It's something like to the professor, you may give your way of writing may be a little different, but if you're sending it for your grant to the government, then you write it in a different manner. So similarly, each health authority have different formats, different data that has to be reported. And the regulations differs from biologics versus drugs. There is a difference even between when we call drugs, there is a difference in the regulations, difference in the way in which it is being submitted. So that's another safety application. After that, when all the drugs have been, all the cases have been processed, you have the report. Now is the time to do the data analysis part. So you have the reporting and analytics tool, again another application, to identify from this drug how many adverse events, what was the seriousness criteria, what has been the trend, do I see any changes over a course of time, how many were hospitalized, how many were non-serious cases. So there is another application for that. So these are the different applications, and we science students can work in each one of them.
So
Can work into
there are a lot
each
of
one.
areas. There are a lot
Very
of
much,
areas.
very
Yes,
much.
I am coming to that. As all the panelist members have given their fruitful discussion, I have a small query, and it is always with the students also. See, whenever any student applies for any kind of jobs or anywhere they want to go, the industry don't accept that, because they say they're just B or B Pharm or M Pharm, because they say that there's no experience, there's no skill. So I would like to put the questions to each and every panel member, like what are the gaps between industry and academia to be filled, and what is the industry looking for exactly? In quick few sentences, if you can just tell me, wherein the students cannot be industry ready as soon as they graduate. It's not possible. We all know about it. So today, any industry, when they visit, they ask for a skill or they ask for an experience, which is not possible unless you give an opportunity.
True.
Yeah. So what do you say about it to all the panel members? Yes.
So especially when I get resumes, when it'll be for the fresher positions or so, what I expect is I don't ask them industry related questions. I ask them, okay, if they have said they have done thesis in this particular subject, in this particular topic, I ask them, what was the aim of this thesis topic? How did you do? Why? So the questions is not to quiz you on your knowledge, but to quiz or to understand you better on what was the purpose of this thesis study. Was it just done to get the degree certificate, or was it done to learn something out of it? So from the fresher, I would expect them to know when they say they have presented a poster or they went to a conference and attended the conference. It can be even simple as attended a conference. So I would ask, what was your key takeaways from that conference?
Did you make any interactions with the speakers or with the other fellow members in the conference? Did you get them, did you connect with them? Did you learn about it? So for me, that is important. What extra steps the student or the person has taken to learn more about whatever opportunity was given to them. And what they have done, they have to be thorough in it. We are not going to quiz you on what did you study in that chapter, explain that chapter. No, nobody is going to ask you the chapter knowledge. But whatever you did, you should be thorough in it. You should be confident in saying, yes, I did this for this reason. I was interested in this for this reason. I didn't like the part of this in my project. Maybe I could have done this better. You can also say that. That's fair enough. It's a 6 months or 1 year project. You cannot do, you cannot have too many objectives and endpoints in a study. You can say that. So that shows, as a student, you had the inquisitiveness, you were hardworking, you knew what you were doing, and you wished to learn more, and you could have done something better. That's all I look for.
Dr. Rekha, your views and comments on
As a recruiter, if I'm sitting and recruiting students for some various positions, I may have freshers, I may have people who have some kind of interim experiences. What I have learned is the biggest failure is your communication, because you are not putting what you want properly. Why you wanted that post? Because everybody asks, like, if you're given chance to work in this profile, how does it help you, like interest you, enthuse you, as well, what does the company does get out of you? So that communication you are not, most of the students, Gen freshers, are failed to do. And second thing, you do not ascertain about your skills, what you know. You may be knowing too many things you would have done as part of the laboratories, or you would have learnt a lot of it. But comprehensively putting it in a nutshell, you fail. So that means what you have learnt, various subjects over your the 8 semesters, including your research project, how it has shaped you, what and all you have learnt. But you may tell that I don't have much in-depth knowledge on that, nor I have in-depth skills on that. But I know about it. And third thing, many times when you are preparing the resume, you are not emphasizing on the job requirement. That means your skills versus the job requirement. So some people apply the same thing, the same resume to everybody, but each company has differences in their portfolio requirement. Each position that they offer or call for application have different requirement. If suppose you are in the protocol development, how your communication, how you are reading articles, etc., that skill you have to emphasize on. So you cannot put everything. In addition, I am also skilled. So that you have to make a brief, statement of purpose or something that is most important. And other hand, this is for all academia also, we try to infuse too many things into the students, because they should know a little bit of programming, they should know a little bit of pharmacology, they should know a little bit of different diseases, medical things, they should also know a little bit of ethics, IPR, so many things we infuse in their curriculum. That is a problem not with the students, but for the curriculum development and other things we infuse. Do you have a number? 100? No, first semester they will be studying at least 4 courses, 8 into 4, right? 32 plus, maybe it will be still more, around 50 courses you study. But you are not master of each of that. A few of them will be more interesting for you. But you have opportunity to learn many things during your 4-year education. So what you want to be, where you want to see yourself in the future in the job market or in your career, what we call it as like your future life. Please be sure at the end of first or second semester and channel your energy into the requirement. Just don't be vague. So the thing what the new generation should be, the market requirement or the job requirements and the industry requirements, whatever the job requirements are too diverse, and we require focused manpower or the human resource. So that is the most important you have to be focusing on. Even your curriculum has too many things to add on to your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rika, from the academic side. Dr. Krishnamurthy, your viewpoints for the gap to be filled.
Already Dr. Baliga and Dr. Reka have commented. I have nothing new to add, but my experience of having interviewed in the last 27 years thousands of candidates, based on that I can tell you. So this may be little different. One is that, as I clarified, my view. So don't accept as
no
is.
problems.
Generalize it. You can. It's your discretion to take my opinion. One is that vacancy. See, companies will have specific vacancy. So not all CVs will fit into that vacancy. So rejection of that CV for that vacancy should not be assumed by the applicant as that he is not qualified to get that job. That's one. Now, other aspect, the taste of the people who are interviewing. As Dr. Reka and she said, see, when a student, let us say a fresh graduate, applies for a job, we will definitely not look at how you will execute the work for which you applied, definitely, because you hardly know the job. So we'll read your CV, and suddenly you will say something you would have given in a sentence. I enjoy doing some manufacturing related work, something like that. But then you have come for something else. You understand? So job specific CV, if possible, is important. Then your attitude is very important, because if I meet 10 people, if I interview 10 people, most of the companies will have a panel of interviews. I will not be the only decision maker. I will have 2 more people sitting with me. So we also have started ratings now. 10. We say I give 9 out of 10. She gives 5 out of 10. Then like that. And that also happens for important jobs. So your attitude also is very important. And your attitude is linked to your own dreams. Someone wants to go abroad after 3 years. As a stopgap arrangement, they want 3 years job. You understand? We will identify that. And now the trend, which I don't dislike, is work from home trend. Now some of you may have an interest to get into a job which will give you work from home option for 3 days in a week. At the age of 24 years, at the age of 23, 24, you want to sit at home for 3 days and work for 4 days. And I have seen in Bangalore, people sitting in malls and taking training calls. They are on the earphone, they are taking a GMP training, GCP training, something else. At this age, very young age. Now, how serious? Now, suppose there is also a difference between how a female looks to a job compared to a male candidate. There is a difference, because some of the females, they don't know what happens after their marriage. We have taken people with so much of interest, and within 3 months they quit their jobs. And the next boy would have lost a good career. It's also there, reverse also possible. But there are jobs where females are very good. My personal experience, which at the age of 24, let us say, a female is more intelligent than a male. They are 3 years to 4 years smarter than males. They are very good for most of the jobs. Clinical research, data management, vigilance, quality control, the analytical method development, validation, R&D. Most of the jobs, females are really good. If they make up their mind, they can achieve it. But how long they, work. But then they have pressure of other aspects. So there are 100 reasons why there is a mismatch. There is 100 reasons, but finally you decide your taste. Suppose if you want to go abroad after 3 years, you decide what you want. There is no fun in getting into manufacturing, and then it has no value when you are planning to go abroad. So I have such reasons.
Thank you. Thank you for your views, sir. Yes, Dr. Mohan, your views, a short view on your on the gaps.
See, I think everybody has explained what is the need of the hour. So actually, I have one small thing which I can tell to the young group here. The only thing what I can tell is, before you are making an application, you try to understand the psychology of the place where they are hiring you. See, there are some places. This job market is like a pyramid. Okay? Always HR wants to play safe. None of the HR or hiring manager want to take risk. Hiring you is a risk to the HR manager or the hiring manager. So they always want to promote the internal person, which they whom know from the last 10 years or 5 years, internally experienced person, to the next role. They don't want to advertise. They will promote there's a base of the pyramid. Next part which I can say is, if they are not getting such eligible people, they will see that, they will tell to my another colleague, see, I have another position, can you refer one person? So if he refers to me, one person, I believe, because he knows that what is the requirement, he will pass on the information and relevant CV. So he will pass on another 3 CVs to me. That is the little upper part of the pyramid. And then if I still don't get it from him, I will go to the another consultancy and ask, can you place another 3 CVs for me or 5 CVs? I have one position. They can sell me 5 CVs or 10 CVs, and I can look into that because I have some faith with the agency. They are knowing what is my job requirement, how my company is working. Still, if I don't get the CV, I put it in the LinkedIn Naukri. That comes on the top of the pyramid. And you all apply for that. You all apply for that. Do you know, for one position, 1,546 applications I got it. One position. Do you know what is the success rate of getting your job position in Harvard if you apply for MBA? 0.2%. But what is the success rate of you being one position, 1 by 1,546? 0.003. Getting a Harvard seat is far easier than getting a position in a pharma company. Have you seen that? So what you need to do is, you have to do actually, I used to tell to many people, many of my juniors also, you need to do the 4 things. Remember that one word called next. First, what you need is N for networking. Do the networking first. See where your people are there, your seniors are there, your other people are there. First, do the networking and engage with them. NE is E for engagement, engage with them. Then X is for excitement. Create some excitement with them, and finally transact. If you ask for a job, first, otherwise if you apply in the top by just looking into the LinkedIn or Naukri, you're simply throwing your CV into a dustbin. Better do that. So if you want a job, first identify which is the areas. First identify. Go and search in the Google top Fortune 500 companies in India. Or good place for, better place for, best place for work. How many in the 2023 has come up? Make the list of that. Keep an Excel sheet. And every page you keep Fortune 500 companies, best place for work, how many companies. How many companies want to enter India in 2024. Make the list of that. And then make your wise application. So that is the way, I think that is the way you need to look into the job
very
market.
true, very true. I think a big round of applause for the panelists. I'm sure every one of us have taken some or the other way the various aspects with respect to research, with respect to the job scenarios, with respect to the pharmacy, and how exactly each and every aspect, whatever today we discussed, is important for us. I think we are in the end of this section, and now I would request Senior Most Professor Dr. Shastri to kindly represent his views and put forward the concluding remarks in this session, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Ujjwala. In some of these, in lighter veins, in some of these programs, one person is made to sit just to observe what Parmeshwaran has told. His job is to see whether things are going on fine or not. in our society, whenever there is a homa or puja is performed, one Brahmatva will be there, no, sitting there and observing the things. I think that job is done. Mostly under such a things we learn a lot. And I thank the very eminent panelists here who are quite young and dynamic in their own field for giving me an opportunity to learn. Having said that, yes, there are many things have emerged by this discussion. Which is likely to have 130 billion turnover by 2030. That simply says that the job opportunities is expanding and you have got a lot of opportunities. There are three industries which will never see a what you call decline. One is of course pharma industry. Second is food industry. You create any food, there is market because number of people. Third is obviously, which I don't want to propose here, is the liquor industry, which also will not see the decline, and none of you are thinking of going for that, except that biotechnology people for some fermentation aspect. Fermentation, not for the servicing of those things. But on a serious note, the pharma field, wherever you are going to work, has got future. And I was very concerned when some of the students raised, does the pharma jobs are limited to pharma graduates or B Farms or M Farms or Farm D? Somebody asked that question. Believe me, after 30 or 40 years of experience, my colleagues, pharma colleagues are there. The very panel, the people sitting, 6 of us are sitting here. Three of them are not from pharma. I mean, basically degree, including Ujwala Rekha, Madam, and other things. So, which simply says that it is not the degree what you actually. Engineers also can reach into the pharma company and do well. And there are many cases. It is not the degree, like other people have told. It is your attitude and how do you want to work. Don't look for shortcuts. If you really, that is I think large number of my students are also here. That's what I tell them very frequently. You have to set your goals very clearly. What I want to be, where I would like to be after 10 years or something like that. Some imagination has to be there and you have to try to reach. And that was explained by all the panel members. And also Krishnamurti said that the biopharmaceuticals and small molecules, which are the advantages and merits and other things, which was quite interesting to note that biopharmaceuticals, though high targeted, high cost, these are the things which will be future. And when I was hearing Poonam, that she was talking about, I was talking down there, she was telling that ADR reporting, adverse drug reaction reporting or adverse event reporting, there is a small difference between adverse event or adverse drug reaction. Event can happen anything, you take some sedative drugs, chlorpheniramine maleate for cough and drive the vehicle and you might hit a tree. That's an event not related to drug itself but because of drug, And whereas getting sleepiness is a adverse drug reaction. When she was telling that this has to be, we have, in your own hospital, I mean I'm talking about NITE students, hospital you have got a ADR monitoring cell. So she was telling that one thing which we have not done is communicating the adverse drug reaction to the pharma industries, which is essential. We have been communicating to the Pharmacovigilance Center of India, from there it will go to Uppsala Monitoring Center, so on and so forth. But parallelly, I think it should be reported to the industry, which they will support. This point is taken. And one more thing, when he was, Mr. Mohan was telling, I was a little bit, wondering. See, you mentioned that digital. Patient safety, because you don't get the very erudite or informed patient all the time. It may be a villager who does not know. So this sort of taking patient consent over some digital platform, maybe there is an inherent risk. That all you can think about it, but the technology is moving ahead and they might address those things. Of course, Dr. Rekha Madam is a hardcore researcher. We had several interactions and she has beautifully listed out. But one thing, my dear students, believe me, the research itself, unless it is product oriented or something related to thing, it will go nowhere, because lot of wasted efforts, what you are referring, will do that. We know, we share the same thing. At least we have applied 30 projects. For 30 funded projects, we ended up with 2 or 3. We don't say that 28 or other things are wasted products. But one key thing is, as far as research is concerned, is in every institution, it doesn't ultimately end up with some tangible result for the public. Maybe engineering students are different. I often see that a student has produced a car driving out of thing, tricks and all those things engineering students do. I think there the hits are much better than what fundamental research is that, because ending up with a smaller number of products which will go. So in all, I think it is a beautiful conclave which talked about the opportunities as well as challenges, especially challenges of understanding the ADRs. ADRs reporting is fine, what you are covering, Poonam, but most of the people do not know, and they are underreported. People do not know how to do it. Even if there are some challenges, you go to a typical hospital setup and tell the doctor, look, this patient has been prescribed this drug and these are the ADRs. They refuse to accept it sometimes. They refuse to accept. They say, no, everything is fine. And down the line, even some pharma companies also refuse to accept. And there are different categories of adverse drug reactions, which is probable, highly probable, likely, unlikely, or rare, and other things. There is a classification. Depending upon that, if you simply say that I got something like that, there is a denial mode. Normally in Indian scenario, whenever you talk about ADRs, there is a denial mode rather than accepting it. These are the challenges what we see there. And also, when it comes to the industry, we have got at least some 20 industries coming for the placement of these things, or communicating with us. If they don't come physically, no industry comes nowadays. There is a trust deficit. Like let me be very blunt about it. Industry believe that okay, your students are not well prepared, they are not prepared, which is not the case, because every industry, as you know, that they have got different approaches. You may be in a particular domain, the other industries. We can't, in education institution, cannot train for the tailor-made for every industry. We will have a common platform. But still, some industries are quite adamant, telling that, oh, no, they are not industry, they are not fit. We have to actually untrain them, undo them, and sort of thing, which I think is from what we expect from the academia point of view, that industry has got an open mind for that and collaborate. Third thing, in the research area also, that's what I was referring to, the placement side of it. In the research area also, I think a lot more can be done. Though, as Madam Rekha was telling, that now the scenario has changed, people are coming forward. 10 years back, no industry was ready to come to any institutions for research. Now it has changed, they are approaching more and more. It's a positive change. Having said that, still, in the presence of industry colleagues here, miles to go before you say that you are a part of the things. I think it should start from the syllabus making itself. It is not the starting point is when the students pass out and come that you do this. There is a problem with the apex bodies like AICT, or in my case the councils or the medical councils, which are straight jacketing the syllabus. So we will not have much flexibility to introduce what is required. So, and also from an industry point of view, I repeatedly request, we send letters to the industry, please suggest something which has to be incorporated in our syllabus beyond. Okay, we are not going to tamper the apex body guidelines, but beyond that, if something has to be taught, say 6 months, we can actually train them in that, so that you don't have to again train them. These are the event. So in that, we look for the active role or participation from the industry, pharma industry or any industry, in preparing the syllabus itself, which will be relevant. Otherwise, I think we will be talking too many things again and again, outdated things and all those things. That is one challenge what we have. Still we are not geared up to that. And these are some of the observations. And to the students, whatever we say, be confident. Look, you are good. Bottom line is, industry, pharma industry or any other industry needs good people. They cannot run without good people. So if you are good, if you are competent, you will get it. Have that what you call aura about yourself, confidence yourself. Somebody asked, whether it is pharma people students are getting. No. Say for example, industry, pharma industry in the last 3 or 4 years data if you take, they have taken more of organic chemistry people rather than medicinal chemistry from pharma, for your information. That's I'm not trying to reassure the other people. What they look is, they know it better. That is the competency. And believe me, every industry, every organization, whether it is agriculture sector, pharma sector, industry, hospitality, anything, needs good people. I'm sure in this college itself, in my college it happens, that's why I presume engineering college, there are vacancies for a teacher, good teacher. There are good professors. There are vacancies. In my own college there are vacancies, but where are the people? So it depends on the good competency, and that is the bottom line you have to have. And all the panelists, it was really a very good interactive session. Ujjwala, I think I should congratulate you to organize it in such a way. That is because, it is not a talk delivered and left. You made people to speak and, discuss among us, which must have benefited. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the organizers. Thanks, Professor Parameswaran, for being, chasing me to come here. Thanks to Chiplunkar for calling me and again to making me to a part of that. From pharma side, yes, pharma sector, this is related to that. We are so happy that my colleagues are here from industry, and we will take these things forward. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Thank you, Professor. And a big applaud for my students for very patience hearing. Thank you, students. Yes, Dr. Harshita, please take over.
I once again thank all the panel members for sharing their wealth of expertise and views with us. It indeed makes this discussion a fruitful one. To express our heartfelt appreciation and reverence, we would now like to present the mementos to all the panel experts. I request Professor Dr. R. Narayanacharyalu, Professor, Vice Principal and HOD Regulatory Affairs and Quality Assurance, NGSM Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, to present the memento to Dr. Mohan B.S. Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Rajesh Shetty to present the memento to Mr. Krishnamurti Rao, CA. Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Vidya SM to present a memento to Dr. Rekha PD. I request Dr. Ujjwal P to present a memento to Dr. Poonam Balika. Thank you, ma'am. I now request our principal, Dr. Niranjan Chuplunkar, to present a memento to Professor C.S. Shastri. Thank you, sir. Sharp at 2 p.m. and take the benefit of the discussion with the industry experts. Thank you. Before you leave, we will have a group photo here. So please wait for it and then leave. Okay, students may leave.